Hello and welcome to WJTS-Inform. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Joining us in the studio is Dr. Alan Johnson. Dr. Johnson has recently retired, yet is still in the position until a new dean is appointed at Vincennes University Jasper campus. Dr. Johnson, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's always a pleasure.
We're going to call you temporarily retired.
Temporarily unretired.
Yeah, okay, yeah, in position again.
Right.
You have been at Vincennes University Jasper. So I guess maybe tell us a little bit of your history. What brought you to Jasper, and then your years of service.
Well, most of my career has been in community college leadership roles. I started off as a high school teacher, finished the doctoral degree, and started working at a community college in Illinois. Went from there to a technical college in Minnesota. Went from there to a technical college in Wisconsin, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and came down here. And the difference between a community and a technical college is a technical college focuses exclusively on career and technical education for employment. A community college also has the role of preparing students for bachelor's degree programs, the first 2 years of a bachelor's degree, and so is a comprehensive institution. And that's one of the things that attracted me to VUJC. We're a comprehensive institution. We're 50 miles away from our home base, which gives me some flexibility to be able to do some things here that I couldn't do on the other campus.
Now, in your time here, you have really made some changes, and I don't know if I should say they're changes, but you have made improvements or things have happened differently with VUJC. The election forums that we do, there's the CTIM building now, just different involvement that you've had in the community.
I think of them as enhancements. VUJC was a rather quiet, low-key institution, and I felt like we needed to raise our profile. We do great things for students, and that's what's kept me in this career for so long, is the fact that we're helping so many students reach their educational goals and go on to great things and discover things about themselves they may not have known before. But we needed more community involvement, and we needed the community to be able to turn to VUJC for leadership, for participation, for assistance in anything that comes up. And so we've developed partnerships throughout the community, and I've said all along that we will partner with any organization that has a mission that complements ours.
One thing that comes to my mind is the land stewardship program that you got going.
The Land Stewardship Initiative is an opportunity to use the land on the campus for educational purposes. For many years that was simply rented out to a local farmer and grow corn and beans, and that's fine, but what bothered me was it was not part of our mission. It wasn't enhancing our mission any. So we got the opportunity to start doing some things to show some environmental leadership. We took some land that was simply golf course type turf, and we turned that into wildlife habitat. And so we grow native grasses and wildflowers out there. When we started the CTIM building groundbreaking, we had to take some of that land away that had been farmed, and the lease was up at the end of 2011, and I got permission from the president to not renew the lease, and I went to the Soil and Water Conservation District Board and offered them 50 acres of farmland for educational purposes. And this has been a partnership that is just textbook, because they got excited about it. They've come into it, and now the Land Stewardship Initiative Steering Committee is managing our farmland as a demonstration site for no-till planting and cover crops over the winter. So you always have something growing on the property. That improves soil quality, it enhances the drainage, and that improves water quality coming off. They've also gotten interested in managing that wildlife habitat, and we also have 31 acres of woods that they're helping us manage.
Now, when you come to the VUJC campus, one thing that you do notice is the brand new CTIM building.
Yes.
And that has to be an exciting thing for you.
It's exciting. It dominates the campus, but what's most important is what that facility allows us to do. We've not been able to effectively help the manufacturing concerns in town with advancing their technology, helping fill their workforce as effectively as we might, learn about new materials coming down the line and new processes. And so by having the CTIM building in there and by staffing it appropriately, we can now reach out and do that. We have students who are coming through and they're getting solid work experience that complements what they're learning in their classes and their labs there. And it's all improving the area workforce and the employers in the community.
Okay. Looking back, what do you think is the single most important thing that you've done?
I think that attachment to the community because it involves our students in a much wider educational opportunity than they would have had just on the campus. When we do the election forums, when we do forums about some important topics in town, we always engage our students in the planning and the execution of those. When you've been on panels interviewing congressional candidates, there's always a student there with you on stage. So they're getting that wider experience, and we're encouraging that community service on the part of our students. They have a more compelling experience in their education, and it enriches what they do.
Now, you didn't mention the CTIM building as your single most important thing, but I guess that plays into your overall
Exactly.
view.
The CTIM building is a building, and it has labs in it, and it has staffing in it, but it's what it allows us to do. When I first came, our classroom building was under construction, and so I didn't get involved in the design of the building, but I did get involved in helping our nursing faculty pull together the virtual hospital, which is our hospital simulation lab. That allows us to do some things for students in a much more advanced laboratory setting than they could do before. It also allows us to reach out to the hospital and bring in doctors and nurses so they can practice their skills on our computer-controlled mannequins. So it's what we do. It's allowing the services to take place that is so exciting for me.
Now, what do you hope for the future as you go into retirement and start living a good life? As you go into retirement, what do you hope that continues at VUJC?
Oh, I want to see the continued growth in services and opportunities. I think we have a good solid base. We have great faculty and dedicated staff. We have students who are, in some cases, knowing what their educational goal is, and they're directed toward it. We have others coming to us who want to find that goal and find some new interest areas and determine what they want to be able to do. Every student has an individual story, but there are some common themes. We're a second chance for a lot of students, and I want to see the campus grow in doing that even more, in reaching out to students, bringing them in, reaching out to companies in town, helping with the workforce, helping with economic development and community placemaking.
In your years in education, what's some of the major changes that you've seen? Is it that now, at one time we were getting, everybody has to go to a 4-year college and you should get a bachelor's degree. I think we're starting to see that change. What are some changes in education?
We're starting to see some changes in that, but it's still a big battle. Unfortunately, the idea of college for all has come to be interpreted as bachelor's degree for all. And that's not right for everybody. And so that's where the community college comes into it. Vincennes University and 1,200 other community colleges around the country are directly helping people get into the workforce with associate degrees, with short-term certificates. You take our CAP program, the Career Advancement Program. Students come to us Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on campus. They're full-time students, but on Monday and Friday, they're working in a local company, doing jobs that are directly related to what they're learning on the campus. By the time they come out at the end of 2 years, they'll have an associate degree, they'll have 2 years of work experience, probably an assured job because the company's been mentoring them and helping them all along, and they'll probably have no debt because they're working, they're paying their way, there's a little money going to a scholarship fund from their employers. They're off and rolling.
Is education, if you're looking at a student, a young child or a young person, and I guess really even an older person like me,
Sure.
Why should I further my education? Why do I need to have an education?
To keep up with what's happening in the world is going to require a lifelong education, lifelong learning. It may not be in a formal educational sense, but there are opportunities for informal learning along the way to keep up with technology, to keep up with international affairs, to keep up with national events, to keep up with what's happening in the workforce, and just to stay lively, to keep your brain exercising, requires lifelong learning in any of many different forms. It can be face-to-face classes, it could be through reading, it could be through online experiences, whatever it might be. But that is so critical to your personal development.
Okay. Now, on a personal level, you're retiring, or we hope that you retire because you're
Sure.
that they find a dean and that you do retire. What are you looking forward to doing in retirement?
I'm looking forward to finding opportunities to do some volunteer work in any community where we end up. We want to be close to a large university, which means I can continue lifelong learning through the cultural offerings, the intellectual offerings, the opportunities to take informal classes at that university, and then get engaged in that community in the similar way to have been engaged here.
Okay, well, much success to you, and thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.
Our guest has been Dr. Alan Johnson, the current dean, but in retirement at Vincennes University Jasper campus. Thank you for watching WJTS Inform. We're local people watching local people.